Hello, everybody. My name is Terrence Layhew, host of the Intellectual Agrarian podcast and an organic inspector. It is my honor to bring you two short interviews today from the International Organic Inspectors Association, discussing the AGM meeting in Huatulco, Mexico. We hope that these interviews prepare you for the AGM if you're planning on coming, and if you weren't, we hope that encourages you to make the trip. Our first interview today is with Lois Christie, an organic inspector, a member of the IOIA Board of Directors. Together, we'll be discussing the organic production of Mexico, the reason Huatulco was chosen for the annual meeting, and much more. Good afternoon, Lois.
Hi, how are you?
Now, Lois, I am so excited to talk about this. The AGM meeting is coming up. As we gear up for it, can you share a little bit about why Mexico was chosen for the location of the meeting in general and Huatulco in particular?
Well, IOIA is an international community, and we like to have it in Mexico or Central America, one out of every 5 years or so, so that our local Mexico inspectors community have a chance to attend. Huatulco is an amazing destination. It's nice warm beaches, and we thought during the winter it would be a great opportunity for inspectors to get away and to share this beautiful area. It's one of my favorite parts of Mexico.
I'm so excited for this trip. I first heard about it at the IOIA processing training in Farmington and last month. And my first thought, of course, was Mexico in March. Absolutely, hand up. But as I actually did a little more research, I was really excited because it looks like the location has Toltec roots, because I actually am reading a Clive Cussler novel right now, which has to do with Toltec culture. So I was really excited to dig a little bit into the history of the location.
It does have its roots in the Toltec community. It's traditionally been a coffee growing region. Tourism is pretty new to the area. It didn't develop until the late 80s, and it's pretty much domestic tourism until recently. So it's not like Cancun or some of the areas that are real touristy.
Thank goodness.
And it still has it's in the Mayan and Toltec cultures.
Now, I'm really curious about the sustainability factor for the location and its tourism. I know for many of us in the U.S., when we think of sustainable tourism, it's kind of you're visiting a barn and bed and breakfast. Isn't that nice? But really, they've really gone to some good lengths to introduce sustainability into their local tourism. Would you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I believe it's one of Mexico's only Green Globe certificate communities. It's a sustainable award. So they've gone to great lengths to follow that trend.
I'm really excited about this trip. I think it's going to be an incredible opportunity. Not only is the location amazing, the history incredible, but IOIA is putting on some trainings at the same time. Can you tell us a little bit about what members can expect from the trainings?
Yeah, well, we're going to have some amazing field trips. We're going to have a one day, which will be apiculture and coffee. So folks from the United States can get to know some inspection areas that they may not be too familiar with. Homero Blas is going to take us to his coffee farm, which is just a couple hours from the hotel. And I understand it's just a beautiful farm, and you'll get to know the whole aspects of coffee farming and the organic certification. And then the apiculture will be given by Garth Call and Ernesto de la Rosa. And I think that'll be a great event as well. There are also some side field trips available. There's one available to an agroecological development which has exotic flowers and herbs and waterfalls. And I understand that's a beautiful place to go to as well. The trainings, the advanced training, the first day will focus on the anatomy of an investigation, which will kind of equip inspectors to be able to detect and deter fraud, a really important part of our what we do. And the second day will focus on Mexican organic regulations, trade agreements, import and export issues. And then Esteban Macias is one of my organic grower mentors. I've known him for many years, and he's going to speak on the intricacies of soil and plant relationships and pest management, microbiology, modern tools, and understanding biological systems. He's an amazing farmer. He works with open field production and high-tech greenhouse container environments, and I think that'll be very a great training as well. So we have some really good things planned for this training. I also just want to make a comment. The advanced training is something I've been going to ever since I started my career. IOI has been an important part of that. And as inspectors, we're really isolated in what we do. And I think the advanced training, it gives us a chance to keep in touch with our colleagues and find out what they're doing. And it's one of the only times a year we really get that chance. So I think it's an important thing, important part of our growth and training as inspectors. I know it's really helped me in what I do. And also, the third day, we're going to have the AGM, the annual IOIA meeting, which is super important to support with all the growth and changes in our industry. I think now is the time to have your voice heard, and I think that's also an important thing to participate in.
Well, if I can just kind of call back to a little bit of what you said earlier about the advanced trainings, I think it's a great idea. And I'm one of those people that I'm a bit of a what's the word? A learning hound. I mean, I try to suck in information like a sponge in education. So when I heard one of the necessary things for an organic inspector is to be continually taking more education, I was like, awesome, I found the right job. But
yeah, this is our one chance to do that.
I think it's so great to have that sense of community, because it can feel isolating unless you have a little network of inspectors. All the IOA trainings I go to, I've always tried to keep in touch with some of my fellow classmates, which have ranged from people from the city that I've never known before that specialize in processing, to Amishmen who I've gotten to know over the course of the years visiting their location. If I'm traveling through, I took a course with them. It's great. But not only that, these advanced trainings give us the opportunity to improve our process. And I was just reading a book that was talking about how we need to trust our process when we're doing things. Because if we're continually looking to the end result, it doesn't always make the work that we're doing better. We can get stuck. We can get intimidated by, oh, there's so much here. But if we have a good process, if we have a good system, if we can trust our training, it gives us that sense of confidence to be able to go forward and get it done.
That's exactly right. And every inspection we do is so different.
So incredibly different.
Yeah. And you always run into things that you think you should know, but you're not sure about. And it's really nice to have that network of colleagues that you build at the events in the AGM to be able to call on. Like, how would you handle this? Or what do you feel about this? I'm just not sure how to deal with it. So it's nice to have that aspect as well available to you.
Now, if I can pick your brain a little bit, could you give me a little idea of what organic coffee growing is? Just because, as I said, I'm from Wisconsin, so we don't really have coffee growing up here.
It's really interesting because I'm in California and it's starting to become a big production crop in California, if you can believe it.
Really?
There's quite a few people doing it. Yeah, between San Diego and Santa Barbara. But coffee growing in Mexico is quite different from some of the agricultural crops you verify in the United States, in that it's a production crop and it's done through cultivation, but it's also what do I want to say? It's not wild cropping, but it's done in a very different way. So you don't have big fields that you can drive your truck around and necessarily. The inspections can be very grueling. I'm 68 now, so I don't do them as much as I used to when I started, because the coffee producers can walk up and down mountains for days. And it's different. It's a different kind of inspecting. But coffee growing is still a commercial crop. The harvest is done by hand. I think it'll be an interesting process to see.
I'm really excited for it because, again, unfortunately, I'm allergic to bees, so I think going to the apiculture training probably wouldn't be the best thing for me. So I'm really excited for the coffee one.
Yeah, that's unfortunate that you're allergic to bees. I wondered how many people would have that issue, but you can attend the coffee part in the morning, I'm sure.
Well, and I'll appreciate it so much more because I enjoy drinking good coffee. And I think, again, that's part of the neat thing is really when you get a sense, and inspectors, we have like this nice little advantage over people that, because everyone eats, but there's some people that really get to enjoy the full flavor of food because they know how it's raised. They know the difference of the texture in, say, a cheese, a coffee, or a wine because they understand what goes into it and the actual local flavor that comes to the food.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting for people who've never seen it grown before to actually know what the process is.
Now, my final question here is, what's the easiest way for members to sign up for the meeting and the conference and the trainings?
You can just go online to the IOI website. We have everything posted now, and you can download the forms and complete the application. It's quite simple. If you're an IOIA member, it is a bit cheaper, and I would recommend that you become a member. It's an amazing group of people, so I think that would be worth your while as well. If you're not already a member, we have a forum and lots of other things.
Thanks for listening to our first interview. We hope that it's given you some context for the location of the event and why it was chosen. Don't miss out on our second interview with the keynote speaker of the AGM this year, Lois Elizondo. We were fortunate to have the opportunity to speak with Lois Elizondo from Pro-Organico. He will be the keynote speaker at the AGM in Mexico this year, sharing with us about the organic marketplace in Mexico, from what it started as to what it's become today. There is no better person to talk to on this topic, as Lois has been a pioneer in Mexico's organic marketplace with Oregon Tilth, naming Lois and Dorita Elizondo as Growers of the Year in 2008 of Oregon Tilth. That same year, Expansion Magazine distinguished Mr. Elizondo among the top 10 entrepreneurs in Mexico. Currently, Pro-Organico is the largest manufacturer of organic tortillas and tortilla chip products in Mexico. Today, Luis is going to share a little bit about how he became involved in organics, what organic means to him, and share a slight tease for his upcoming keynote. Let's get right into this discussion with Luis.
I was working in another field when my family and myself, we wanted to have more contact with the nature, and so we bought this small orange grove for like to spend the weekends and do some working on the outdoors. But at that time, our daughter was 4 years old. And so we didn't want her to be in contact with any harmful chemicals. So we decided since the beginning that we wouldn't be using any chemicals in our growth. During more than 9 years, we were just, growing the oranges and selling it to the market. But then we came across with a friend of ours who told us about the organic movement in the United States. And so we started learning about it, and so we got involved with the certification process. And but by a couple of years, we were very interested in this industry, so we started to grow vegetables, and we wanted to grow vegetables to learn how to do it, and also because we wanted to involve small rural growers in the organic production. So we will buy from them their products, and we will sell them in the market. So at that time, in Mexico, there was no market for the organic products. So we started to sell our products in the United States and also in Canada. At the same time that we started talking to some retailers in Mexico. And we were fortunate to get involved with this American company. They have operations in Mexico, which is called HEV. They are in Texas, and they also have some stores. Or they used to have some stores. Now they have like 50 stores in Mexico.
Wow.
And they were interested in exploring the organic products in their stores. So we started selling our products in Mexico and also in the export to the United States and Canada. We did that for like 10 years or more. I would say that was very successful. We were participating in the creation of the market in Mexico for the organic goods. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, some other companies started doing more or less the same with different products. So it was very interesting, and also we were very happy with what we were doing. But some situations came for us and for the growers, so we decided to stop that operation and start in 4 to 5 years ago. We started growing manufacturing. We stopped growing goods and we started manufacturing tortillas, corn tortillas, and corn chips. And that's what we do now.
Always a favorite snack.
Yeah, snacks.
So was there a big transition for you going from production to actually then utilizing what was grown? I mean, you were developing the market for organic in Mexico.
Yeah, I would say that we were among a handful of companies that started the organic market in Mexico.
Now, just for context, because we're all really excited to hear your keynote speech and your keynote lecture at the AGM meeting this March. But for context, because I know I myself as an inspector and many other inspectors who aren't from the area of Mexico, where does Mexico sit in the overall organic marketplace?
Well, Mexico is been in the organic industry production of goods for many years. Mexico is very important in the coffee production in the worldwide. I think it's number 1 or 2, and also it's very important in honey. Very important participation in the world. We also, in Mexico, we grow many other vegetables, but I will say that the biggest product that Mexico started doing for the in organic was the coffee at the beginning, and it's still very important, also for the country and for the world.
I know that my day would drastically change if I didn't have my morning coffee, and I'm sure that that's the same way for most people.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just kind of curious. This is more of a spitball question, but what does organic mean to you?
Organic?
Yes.
Well, it means a couple of things. First, it means the production of food that is not in contact with harmful chemicals, which is very important for consumers and for the people working on the fields. Also means organic means preserving the land and the environment, which is very important for the future generations.
Absolutely.
We all know what chemicals are doing to the land and the water, and so organic is sort of hope for better situation for the next generations.
Now, I'm curious. You're going to be in your presentation. You're going to be talking a lot about the organic market in Mexico. Have you noticed that the market in Mexico for organics has changed very much since you started your company?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about from non-existence to what it is now, which is not very big, but we have organic goods in most of the retail stores, and there are many specialty stores selling organic and natural goods.
That's fantastic, because I think it's so important that organic doesn't lose its local roots, its sustainable roots, its at-home roots, because if the product, I mean, I think that's the sad part about in some places in the United States even, where a product is being made or raised and the people in the same area aren't even eating it. That's a crime. I mean, it's really great when it actually has access and it's being eaten by the people who grow it and are near it and breathe it. It's having that full cycle of people raising food and eating food.
Yeah, absolutely. I could say that there's no big retail chain in Mexico that doesn't have some organic products in their shelves.
And that all started from having zero back when you started.
Zero. Yeah.
What was the main drive, do you think, for people to start having organic? Was it health concerns at the time? What was it that took organic from nothing to what it is today?
Well, first of all, and most important, is that the organic movement in the world, let's say that reached Mexico. Many people knew about organics even before they were available in the country. Second of all, yeah, some people, and it is growing year by year, are more and more concerned about what they're eating, what they're getting in their food. You know, the news all the time, they're coming with these harmful chemicals that are found to be causing cancer and those things. And people in Mexico are aware of that. And also, some, in a lesser degree, some people are growing conscious of the danger that chemicals are doing in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that eating healthy food is the prime a reason for people looking for organic products.
Now, I want to shift gears a little bit to go back to your keynote. I was really curious if you can share a little bit with the audience listening what they can expect from your keynote.
Well, I'm going to sort of give a background of what we do or what we've done in the past. Also, I like to let the audience know the changes in regulations in Mexico, which is we didn't have any regulations some years ago. We now have an organic law as the NOP, the National Organic Program in the United States. We have a law in Mexico that is regulating the production and sales of organic goods. This has been a long process. We participated in some parts of that process, and also I like them to know how the market right now, how it's growing, how it's changing, and that's about it. That's about it.
Well, I know I'm looking forward to it. I'm a history buff, so here in the States, I know the story of our organic program, and I'm really excited to learn more about Mexico's when I go down there for the meeting. Luis, thank you so much for letting us interview you, being on this little show. I look forward to meeting you at the meeting.
Same here. Thank you very much for coming. And let the audience know that I'll be speaking Spanish, so they don't have to bear with my bad English.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening. I hope everyone gets a chance to come to the AGM in Mexico this year. You can learn more about it by going to the information page on the IOIA website, or clicking the link that will be provided with this episode. This is Terrence Layhew with IOIA, signing off, saying that I hope to see you in Mexico soon.